Hey tennis fans, I'm Grace Carter and this is Tennis Now presented by Tennis Express. Tennis Express, order today and it ships today. Rafa Nadal is special, no question about it. He is a huge tennis star, but he is also a global superstar who draws flocks of fans walking the streets in any major city in the world. Rafa recently sat down for an interview with the Italian publication Corriere della Sera, and we learned a few things about the king that we didn't know. So today we're going to highlight 5 Rafa revelations, starting with this. Despite his pre-service routine and that habit of always placing his bottles in just the right spot during changeovers, he insists that he is not superstitious. He says it's simply his way of focusing his mind and quieting the voices in his head. Up next, passion and pain. Nadal says his most painful losses were to Roger Federer in the 2007 Wimbledon final, after which Rafa says he cried for an hour and a half because the disillusionment was terrible. And he wept in actual pain after losing to Stan Wawrinka in the 2014 Australian Open final because he injured his back after the first set of that match and says he suffered just to finish the match out. Off court, Rafa reveals 2 painful moments, when his parents briefly split in 2009 before reconciling, and also the death of his beloved grandfather, a musician and a conductor for whom Rafa was named. He says without his family, he would have nothing. Number 3, Rafa talked about God and heaven and whether or not they exist. Asked if he believes in God, Rafa says he doesn't know, and he doesn't really ask himself. For him, the important thing is to behave well, to help those who need it. He believes in good people. If God then exists, it would be wonderful. And what about the afterlife? Well, Rafa says he doesn't really imagine it. And number 2, Rafa on Roger. What does Rafa think about Roger Federer? Well, Rafa calls him the greatest man in the history of sport, and he says their great rivalry has benefited both of them. He says he and Roger share the love of family and tranquility, even though they differ in their style of play and the way they live because their cultures are so different. And finally, how much longer will Rafa play and what will he do once he retires? Well, Rafa says he doesn't have an expiration date in mind because tennis is a game of the mind and not math. He says when the time comes, he'll know it. Well, right now he's 34 and says he wants to start a family. And when his playing days are done, Rafa says the couple will continue their work with the Rafa Nadal Foundation, which is devoted to helping at-risk children in Spain and India with nutrition, education, and sports programs. Rafa says he will dedicate himself to his children and also to those in need. He has 20 schools in Spain right now for children with disabilities, and his foundation works in India to teach kids English and computer science. It is a really insightful interview and well worth checking out, so you should do that. I'm Grace Carter. We'll see you next time here on Tennis Now.